This is what poetry can look like when it is left behind. Messages about strength, which were planted like seeds in a garden that Liese Dodd would never get to see. After a while, Liese wrote on her blog, you learn the difference between holding a hand and chaining a soul. This is Liese Dodd. The only thing that remained is the chain. Because hours earlier, on a Thursday afternoon in June 2022, a mother named Heidi Noel shook with tremors on her daughter's porch in Alton, Illinois. This was after gaining access to her daughter's apartment, concerned after 15 hours of no communication. The kind of silence that mothers know, the silence that screams. The 22-year-old daughter, Liese, whom Heidi could see in her room nearly 8 months pregnant, no longer had her head but her body intact. The baby shower invitations had been sent out just days before. Pink princess crib sheets sat in unopened packages. A baby registry with a due date of July 27th still lived online, waiting. This is how the 911 call, which can best be described as raw pain, unfolded around 12:59 p.m. My daughter's head has been chopped off. The operator's voice remained steady, but what could be said? What words exist for this? Yet to grasp how a white laundry basket and this horrific phone call occurred, one must return to the day prior to the killing, to those sounds heard by the neighbors on Bolivar Street. April Wooten lived next door. She had a 3-year-old daughter. The arguments between Liese and her boyfriend had become familiar. Too familiar. That's the insidious thing about domestic violence. It normalizes the abnormal. Screaming becomes background noise. Violence becomes routine. But that night was different. The screams got louder and louder and more intense, the neighbors would tell police. And then there were these loud thuds in the apartment. Like 5, 6 loud thuds, and they got louder and louder each time. The questioning about what this sounded like to these witnesses led to a comparison that their mind struggled to comprehend, but ultimately to this hushed declaration. Probably. I just don't know, other than like chopping wood. That is what this is. That is what this story is about. A life. A spark, a young woman who loved animals so much that on her 10th birthday, she didn't ask for gifts, but organized a fundraiser for the Riverbend Humane Society. A woman who graduated from Jersey Community High School in 2017. A woman who greeted customers with a smile at Dairy Queen in Jerseyville. A woman who documented every moment with photos because she wanted to remember everything. A woman nearly 8 months pregnant with a daughter she called Baby Bean. That life being brutally extinguished and desecrated. The relationship itself had been visible for 2 years, visible to everyone who cared to look. Her boss at Dairy Queen knew. How could they not? Liese herself had documented it, written it down like evidence she hoped she'd never need. My boyfriend beat me again. And I had to go to my mom's. He has threatened us before to harm us. But here's what people never understand about domestic violence until it's too late. Leaving is the most dangerous time. Statistics will tell you this. Advocates will tell you this. The dead will tell you this if you listen to their stories. Yet, Liese consistently returned home after being beaten. Because love is complicated. Because hope is stubborn. Because leaving takes planning, resources, and a support system that doesn't always exist. Because sometimes, the person who hurts you is also the person who made you feel seen in a world that often looks through you. What about the man carrying that basket? What demons lived inside him? DeAndrea S. Holloway, 22 years old, from Litchfield, Illinois, was also beset by turmoil. mental health issues that would later become a legal battleground. This is how he expressed himself to a friend via texts days before. "I feel like it's all the emotions I've ever put to the side, just coming out now at once. My cup filled up, and now it's got to spill over." A warning sign written in plain English. A cry for help that became a promise of violence. But here's something crucial to understand. Holloway wasn't even the father of Liese's unborn child. Yet the pregnancy, the relationship complications, the volatile emotions, all of it was spiraling towards something dark. The evening before the murder, June 8th, Holloway had gone missing. Liese, nearly 8 months pregnant, stressed, alone in her new apartment she'd just moved into, texted her mother, "You think he'd just up and leave like this?" Heidi, Liese's mother, a nurse who knew trauma, who knew danger, who had been checking in on her daughter every single day because of the nature of the relationship. Heidi saw this opportunity as a lifeline. She responded, "If this is how it is supposed to happen, at last it is non-violent." Liese's response to this is the most poignant foreboding in this entire story. "I'm not looking at it that way yet." Because she knew him. She knew he would come back. The cycle always completed itself. Holloway returned that night. Surveillance footage shows they arrived at their apartment at 9:11 p.m. on June 9th, 2022. This is the last time Liese appears alive on any camera. The last time her smile, the one everyone said could light up any room, would be seen. The last message Liese sent to anyone was simple, almost mundane. "I'm trying to figure it out." Aren't we all? Trying to figure out how to leave, how to stay, how to survive, how to love without losing ourselves, how to protect an unborn child while still believing in the person who's supposed to protect you both.
That evening, what transpired within that apartment was a tempest that had been brewing not just for days, but for 2 years. The neighbors heard it. 5, 6 loud thuds, the sound of chopping wood, the sound of a life ending in the most horrific way imaginable. The result? DeAndrea Holloway changed his clothes, put on a mask to cover his face, took that white laundry basket, now containing the severed head of a woman who was 8 months pregnant, and walked it out to the dumpster like he was taking out trash. Think about that level of disconnection, that level of depravity, that level of planning after rage. Because this wasn't just violence, this was desecration. The next morning, June 10th, Holloway was at his mother's residence in Litchfield, acting strangely. His sister discovered him there, and something was wrong. Everything was wrong. He was cutting his hair off. He just said, "a fresh start." He was nervous. You could tell he was really nervous. A fresh start. As if you could cut away what you'd done with a pair of scissors. As if new hair erases old sins. He gave his grandmother Liese Dodd's identification and debit card. Theft added to murder. When she asked what he was doing with these items, he didn't know what to say. Then he left, stating he would go cut some grass. Cut some grass. After cutting off a woman's head. The mundane language of evil. The dominoes began falling when he was pulled over in Gillespie, Illinois, about 45 minutes from Alton, not initially on a murder charge, but on charges related to a stolen bicycle and vehicle. Small crimes that catch big criminals. This is when he became manic in custody, pacing back and forth while pounding on the walls, asking officers a question that still echoes. Why aren't you afraid of me? Because even in his fractured mind, he knew what he was. He knew what he'd done. Meanwhile, Heidi Noel was discovering the unimaginable.
the crime scene so horrific that Alton Police Chief Marcos Pulido, a man who'd seen his share of violence, would call it in a public video statement.
To 22-year-old Liese Dodd, who had just moved to this place in Alton, is beyond irreprehensible. It is completely terrible what happened to her. Her unborn child was also killed as a result.
He described Holloway as a savage monster, and the crime as abominable, completely terrible.